We know that tax leaders are finding transfer pricing compliance to be ever more important but complex, particularly with the changes that are coming in the UK from 2023. So to talk about that some more, I'm delighted to be joined by our leaders in this space. So Shuchi, maybe starting with you, what are some of the challenges that we're seeing that tax leaders are facing at the moment around transfer pricing compliance?
So Erica, let's pause and look at what's happening in the world around us. World over, tax authorities are becoming more and more rigorous. As you mentioned, HMRC, we're seeing new and stringent transfer pricing regulations being introduced, and audits are becoming more challenging. And then on the other side, clients are faced with transformation challenges and ever-increasing cost pressures. This really requires clients to therefore consider the way they meet their transfer pricing compliance obligations. Clients are largely looking for a centralized solution that provides them more central control and visibility and consistency.
Yeah. And Desi, I guess, are you seeing similar things in the financial services space?
Absolutely. And in that space, these challenges actually tend to come with an even greater level of complexity because you're fundamentally looking at companies that are already under regulatory scrutiny. The transactions or the dealings at hand are generally more complex by nature. And tax leaders in the financial services space tend to struggle with data control, stakeholder management, amongst many other things, really. And all of this absolutely advocates for transfer pricing documentation to be approached very strategically with a focus on better processes and better outputs.
Yeah. And Tom, your perspective?
Yeah, and the final thing that we're seeing is transfer pricing compliance budgets. There is a lot to do now, and there's a lot more deliverables, a lot more that clients have to get involved with. So really thinking about where to spend that transfer pricing compliance budget is really important. Now, in a strategic approach to do that is where tax leaders really need to think.
Okay, so then having heard about some of the challenges that tax leaders are facing, what is it that they should be thinking about? What should they be doing in this space?
Well, tax leaders really need to be placed in the right level of focus on strategy, efficiency, and quality. And that's exactly the kind of approach that we take when we work with our clients. What we want for them is, at the end of the day, to have transfer pricing documentation that can actually stand as a proactive rather than reactive risk management tool. To achieve that, the starting point has got to be to define the best delivery model for them and then bring together the right combination of people, process, and technology to implement that model. One of the things that we see tax leaders really value, for example, is working with people who understand and know how to navigate the multiple requirements out there and who are capable of delivering large documentation projects with efficiency in mind.
And so Essie already touched on it, but process, Shuchi, what's important then around process?
I think Essie touched on an important point, delivery models, right? One of the key things that tax leaders need to consider is what's the right delivery model for them? Do they have a fully outsourced solution or a technology-enabled in-house solution or something in between? Tax leaders also need to consider what is the right data gathering approach for transfer pricing compliance. Do they have the right process and systems in place? So again, I think really important for them is to have a process and approach that is tailored to their organization and an approach that drives value for them through better processes, ability to manage risk, and ultimately get insights.
Yeah, and I guess you touched on it, but Tom, your passion around technology, so what is it in terms of technology?
Yeah, definitely the final thing that tax leaders need to think about is technology and how does technology build into the transfer pricing compliance process. Technology can help in a lot of ways, and it can be from workflow management, data automation, it can be automated documentation production, data analytics, insights. There's loads of places where technology can really, really help that transfer pricing compliance process. So it's really important for tax leaders to think about that early and think how they build that into their process.
There's some very interesting reflections there. And yeah, I guess I take away from that, as you said, the importance of having a well-defined transfer pricing compliance strategy that leverages on people who really understand the many and complex requirements that we have across the globe. Well-defined processes and the right delivery model for that company that's then, as far as possible, enabled by technology. So thank you very much.